Hello friends, today in this tutorial we will be building a full stack project inside Angular, Node.js, MongoDB. So basically it will be authentication project, JSON web token, and basically I will be showing you that how you can log in and register inside MongoDB database. So this is basically the demo of the project, guys. You will see we have a navigation bar, we are showing login and register buttons, and this is the home page of the application. It is showing the current status of you are not logged in. So this is the message showing here, and all this information will be stored right here inside the table, guys, MongoDB database. So if I refresh here, nothing is present right here. So now we need to create the account here. If I click the login button, a form will be shown to me. So here I will able to sign in with my username. So let's suppose if I don't enter any sort of information, alert messages will also be shown here, validation messages. You will see, please enter all the fields. So for this we are using the Sweet Alert to pop-up message library, which is very famous to show these colorful alert messages. So now if I enter the email but I don't enter the password, you will see again it will show me the message. Let's suppose if I enter the password, you will see this email address is not correct. It will say to us that please enter a valid email address. You will see that. So all these validation messages, we are comparing it and at the client side in Angular and then showing the alert message. So let's suppose if I add a @ gmail.com. So already we haven't registered any sort of email. So this email is not present in the database. So it will show me that user not found. So you will see that, guys, on different errors, different validation messages are occurring, different error messages are showing up. So now first of all we need to create an account. So we need to go to the register here, and in register, guys, we have three options. We need to provide first of all the name, email address and the password. So let's suppose I provide the name here and the email address, and then I provide my password. So if I enter these details, guys, and also let me open my application, and inside you will see that let me just delete this Java JSON web token. So nothing is present inside the cookie here. You can go to inspect element and go to cookies here, and if I basically now submit, guys, you will see basically a brand new JSON web token will be created here, which will be allocated by the Node.js server, Express server, and it will be transported back to the Angular. So it is stored inside the cookie here. So you will see my dashboard page will be shown here. This is hi followed by the name, which is Gautam Sharma. You will see, and this JSON web token, guys, will allow us to authenticate with the Node.js backend server. So whenever I try to basically in the future request, if I basically open the application localhost 4200, it will automatically redirect me to the dashboard page. It will automatically detect this JSON web token that is present inside the cookies here. You will see JSON web token is already present, and you can see that this token is already present. So that's why it is automatically detecting in the cookies. So that's why it redirected me to the dashboard page. And we got this logout button also, guys, and if I press this logout button, so what will happen, this JSON web token will be automatically deleted. If I press this logout button, you will see JSON web token will be deleted. And now if I try to go to the localhost 4200, you will see you are not logged in. So the status will change. So this will be done automatically, guys, because we log out from it. So the JSON web token is deleted from the cookies. So that's why it can't recognize the user. So it also has a expiry date, guys, JSON web token. You can set all this stuff in the source code. I have basically made a similar video. In the last video I made how basically we can implement JWT authentication in Node.js, Express and EJS. I have given the link in the description of the video. You can also check out that video also. This is the second video that I'm doing here with Angular this time. And basically you will see all this information. Let me show you. Now if I refresh the database, you will see that, guys, this database will be created, which is node_auth. Let me see, node_auth, and a table will be created, users table will be created, guys. You will see this is, we are storing the name here, email address, and we are storing the password. So we are not storing password as a plain text, we are hashing the password by bcrypt.js library, and you will see that. And now let me log in with that username, which is if I enter Gautam@gmail.com, password 1234. If I enter wrong password, guys, it will show me that password is incorrect, because email is correct but password is incorrect. So in that case, it will show you password is incorrect. And let me enter the correct password. Click on sign in. You will see that you will be automatically logged in inside your application. So this is basically the authentication system, guys. And now if I try to basically log out and try to register a new account with the same information that I provided last time, let's suppose I entered the same email address, so it will give me that error message, guys, this email is already being taken. So you will see email is already registered. So all these error messages that you are seeing, guys, basically it is showing up automatically from the backend. These error messages are returned here, we are displaying it. So in the console you will see basically these error messages. You will see bad request is there, 400. So basically inside our Node.js, if I show you the code here, so these, if I open the routes.js, basically you will see all these error messages we are returning it. User not found, password is incorrect. So all these messages we are unauthenticated. You will see that. So all these messages email is already registered. So basically we are returning all these messages and then we are displaying it inside the front end using Angular. So I will be showing you from scratch, guys, how to develop this project. All the source code is given in the description of the video. I have written a complete blog post step by step. So if you have still errors running this project, I have given all the source code in the full Node and Angular, whatever directory structure I am using, whatever Angular version I am using. I am using the latest version, Angular 14 and 15. So it is compatible with the latest version as well at the time of recording this video. So if you still want to buy the full source code that I am using, you can buy this full source code at a very reasonable price. The link is given in the description of the video. You can check out this blog post. So now let's get started by building this application. We will look at it in the next section. Now guys, in order to get started here, I will basically go to my directory here, project directory, and basically I will make a new directory here, JWT auth. So it is saying that it already exists, so I will say JWT project and I will cd into this, and then I will open this inside Visual Studio Code text editor. You will see that basically it's an empty directory right here, nothing is present. So now guys, we will first of all create two directories here. First will be for the backend and the second one will be for front end. So you will see we have created two directories, backend and front end. So first of all, I will go into the backend directory for the Node.js. So you will initialize the package.json file. You will see package.json file is created. So now I will be showing you guys for Node.js project what dependencies are needed. Express will be the web server which will be started, and we also need the CORS module basically in order to prevent the cross origin resource sharing. We will allow the Angular application to basically use our API, so that's why CORS is needed. And then for interacting with MongoDB database, Mongoose is needed. And then we also need the cookie parser, guys, in order to set and read cookies. So we will be storing the JSON web token inside the cookies. So we need this cookie parser middleware to set the cookie. And we also need the bcrypt library, guys, bcrypt.js, in order to hash the plain password. So we need that. And lastly, we need the JSON web token. So just install these dependencies, and in the meantime, guys, I will go into the front end also. I will open a new directory. I will go into the front end and I will initialize a new project. So I will say ng new JWT app. So here it will ask you some questions, guys. You need to basically allow the routing as well. So it will ask you a question that do you want to allow routing. So we do need the routing here, so that's why press the Y icon. And for the style sheet we will use CSS. So simply it will now create your Angular project as well, side by side. So now you will see it has already installed all the packages inside your package.json file. If you see, we have bcrypt, we have cookie parser, CORS, Express, JSON Web Trunker, and Mongoose. Now we just need to create our index.js file, which will be the starting point of the application. So right here, guys, we will basically start the Express server here. So here we will basically write the code here. So we will see const express. So here we need to require the Express module. And then we also need the Mongoose library in order to connect to the MongoDB database. And then we also need the CORS middleware. So just require this. And we also need the cookie parser middleware, guys. So cookie parser, just we need to require this also. And now we will basically one by one, first of all, create the app, guys, of Express. So one by one we will pass all the middlewares, which is, first of all, we will pass the CORS middleware. You can pass using the use function, guys, it's very easy. Then we will pass the cookie parser middleware, simply pass it. And that's all that you need. And in the CORS middleware, guys, so basically it takes an object here that you need to pass here. It takes the credentials options, which is set to true. And it also takes the origin option. Here we need to set the origin, from which origin we will allow the access to our application. So if you want to allow all the origins, you will pass star here. Or if you want to provide a specific URL, here we will only provide the specific URL of the Angular application. It will be all the Angular apps runs on the 4200 port number. So we will simply pass it. So after this, guys, we will basically also pass the middleware, which is express.json. So this makes it easy in order to get the JSON data that you pass from your front end to get access to. This middleware is also necessary. And lastly, guys, we need to start the application at particular port number. For this we will use the Mongoose library, and it contains the connect method. And here we will be connecting to our MongoDB database, which will be running on 27017. This is a default port number of MongoDB. And then we will simply say the database name. So here we will be providing, let's suppose, JWT project. This will be the database name, which will get automatically gets created. So here you can replace your own database name, and then it takes an object, two properties it takes, which is use new URL parser. These are Boolean properties, and use unified topology. This is also set to true. So now it returns basically a callback function, guys. So here we can say that connected to database, and here we can simply start the application. When we are connected, we can start that. We can listen on this 5000 port number, and we can simply say that app is running on port 5000. App is listening on port 5000. So if you see now, guys, in order to run this application, it's very easy. We can simply say here in the command line. So here we can say that nodemon index.js. So you will see that Mongoose error is saying that Mongoose prototype connect no longer accepts a callback. Okay, I think it is saying that it doesn't accept a callback. So I think we need to replace it using a done function. Promises, I think it's saying that. So what we can do is that here. So we can say done, and here we can say connected to database, and then we can replace the code here. So in the latest version of Mongoose, guys, it is not supported, so that's why that error is taking place. If you once again start this, option use unified topology is not supported. So basically you can remove this property, guys. So you will see that connected to database, and you will see app is listening on port 5000. So now we are successfully connected, guys, and now if I check out my Angular app, you can also see it is also created. We can cd into this cd JWT app, and on the front end, guys, you will see the project is created. This is a sample Angular project. We only need to install one package here, which is the sweet alert library, which I showed you, the colorful pop-up messages. Simply type npm i sweet alert 2. This is basically the library that you will need here. Simply you need to install this, so it is installed here. So if you just type this command ngserve, you will see it will basically start your application at localhost 4200. So just wait, it is starting this application. And after that, we will create all the routes one by one for login and registration. So what we can do is that in the meantime it is starting this application, we can create a new folder, guys, which is called as routes, and here we can create the different routes which are necessary, routes.js file. And also we will need a models folder also, where we will be storing the schema here. So just make a models folder and just make a file user.js. So here we will have different fields for the user, the name, email and password. And for this we need to require the mongoose library, and here we need to require mongoose, and here we will be having the user schema. So here we will say that new mongoose, and here we will use the schema method. And basically inside this we will have different fields here. First will be the name field, which will be of type string, and it should be required. So required will be boolean parameter, that's all. Put a comma, and then we will have the email here. Email will also be of type string, and it will be unique. So no duplicate email is required. So unique is true, and it also is required. And lastly, guys, we have the password as well. So password will also be of type string, that's all, and it is required. So we have three, you can see three properties, which is the name of the user, email and password. And then we simply need to export this. We can say module.exports mongoose. It contains a model function, guys, and here we can provide the collection name user. So MongoDB will automatically add s into it, so it will create the collection users. And here we need to pass the schema here, which we created in the second argument, which is user schema. That's all. So this is all that you need to write inside this file. We have automatically created this schema inside model. Now we need to write the routes, different routes we need to write. So just refresh it. Basically it is. And for the routes, guys, we need to first of all require the express router. So from the express dependency, guys, we just need to require the router package. So just require it like this, and then we will also require the bcrypt library, which will be useful for hashing the passwords. We will also require the JSON web token library, guys, and we will now require that user model that we created in the models folder. You can just import this like this, and now we will basically have the router.post. So first of all, we need to initialize this router, guys. So we will say that router, and we will say router like this, and then we will simply say we will have different requests here, which will be post request for the register route. So when someone goes to /register, basically it will be async request response. For the meantime, we will basically send a response here like this. created user like this. So later on we will basically add the code. For now we are just basically having all the requests, so we will do it for same for the login as well. We will basically send out that login user. And also we will basically have a get request also to the user route also, guys, which basically this will get the information about the user, and whether it basically will tell whether the user is authenticated or not. So we can say that response times user. And lastly, we will be writing the logout request as well lastly. So we just need to module.exports, we just need to export this router. And now when we do this module.exports router, now we can include this file inside index.js. So right here at the top, we can include this file. So what we can do is that we can include the router that we created. So we'll say routes, we can say require so we can just pass it as a middleware. We can say that app.use routes, that's all. So this is all that you need to do, guys. And once again, we also need to provide a path here also. We can also customize it using let's suppose you can say /API. So each and every route will have this endpoint firstly attached to it, /API /register /API /login /API /user. This is meant by this. You can customize the routes here by adding this property. So now, guys, if I basically refresh my application, and if I can basically use this tool called as Postman. This is an open source tool. If you don't have a front end, we will create the front end, but for now let me just test this. So our application is running on localhost. You will see it is running on, let me refresh this, 5000. And if I make a post request to login, click on send, it is saying that cannot post /login. Sorry, our API was /API login /API /login. So you will see this basically it returns whatever message that we sent right here. If you see login user, so if I go to /register, it will say to me created user. So our endpoints are working, guys. I am just showing to you /register, you will see created user. And if I go to /user, you will see, sorry, this was a get request, so user is returned to us. So all the endpoints are working, guys, that we showed here. Now we simply need to basically write the code here in order to insert the data inside the database. So for this, guys, first of all we will tackle the register route here. Instead of returning created user, basically we will get the information that the user has written. So here we will simply say slash for the /user. Basically here we need to first of all get all the things here. We can get using request.body.email. So these things will be sent by the inside body. So here first of all we will get all the things that the user say. We can get the email like this, request.body.email, password is request.body.password, and we can even get the name also like this, request.body.name. So these three things we got inside these three variables, guys, and now we can first of all simply, without putting any sort of validation, we try to basically insert this inside the database. So what we can say, new user. This is a model class, and here we can pass three options here, which is the name here, request.body.name, and email is email. Sorry, password is password. So let me just replace it name here. So we are passing these three things, guys. We have created these three. You will see name, email, password. So we are passing it right here. So now to save these details, guys, it is very easy. We will say await, because this is the async function. So here we can simply say that user.save. So we can invoke this save method. This will simply save these details inside the database. And now we can simply return out a response to the user, like a JSON response, and here we will have a message property, or we can return a simply ID of the user. So ID will simply be result.id. So this will be the automatically generated ID of the user, which is automatically generated. So now what we can say is that, or we can even say the user, we can return the user here like this, the full user, which will contain all the three properties. So if I basically now test this endpoint, I go to Postman. Basically I make a post request and I say that http localhost 5000 /API/register, and I go to body, and here you need to set your this raw JSON. Just set it to JSON, and in the headers you need to write this content type application JSON. So these you need to do this. So inside the body we will basically pass the name property as well. So put a comma. So we have passing these three properties, name, email, and password. If I click send here, so it is saying that cannot read property email of undefined. Let me check, guys, what is the problem. Guys, I figured out the problem here. So just go to index.js. So we have put this line here, which is app.use/API routes. So this line needs to be put after this, after we apply this middleware function, which is express.json. So just you need to copy this line and simply paste it just after that. You write like this. So simply paste right here. The ordering is very much important. So now we can use this middleware, which is express.json. So now if I go to Postman, if I make that request, let me just make a new request here. Select post request, and then we will say http localhost 5000 /API/register, and here I will go to body and select raw, and then I select here JSON, and here I select pass three properties. Name, let's suppose I say ABC. Email, I pass here abc@gmail.com, and then I pass the password 123456. Click on send, guys. You will see that automatically a user is generated, or user object is generated. We are seeing name, email, password. So we are not hashing the password, it is storing plain here. If I check the database, reload it, you will see one database will be created with a JWT project. If you see right here, you can see JWT project, users table will be created, and we have this record abc@gmail.com 123456. So now our registration process is working. Now we simply need to hash this password. So now we can simply do, guys, we can apply a bcrypt library which allows you to hash your password. This is very much useful. So here, right here, we can before we insert our password, we can create a hash. So here we can create the salt here. We can say that await bcrypt, and it basically contains a method generate salt. And here we can create the salt 10 characters, and then we can say hashed password, and then we can again use the bcrypt, and it contains the hash function, guys. And here we can simply pass the password that we got. This is the original plain text password, and then we will simply mix it with the salt. That's all. So after this, guys, you can simply say, instead of the password, we will replace it by hash password. That's all. You will see that. Now if I do the same thing, if I again go to Postman, and this time let me delete these record here. Let me delete this. So now no record is present. So if I again send this request, so now you will see that, guys, the password, you will see it is successfully hashed here. Nobody can see the password. It is successfully hashed. If I refresh this database, you will see the password is hashed here. So in this way, guys, you can hash your password. And now we simply need to apply one other validation, guys. Let's suppose if I registered it for the second time. So basically it will return me the error here. You can see that duplicate key error, email must be unique. Because we put that property, guys, you will see that inside our user.js, because email should be unique. So you can't register same email twice. So that's why it is returning me the error. So now we can simply pass that error to the front end. So we will be showing that error inside the Postman and later on in the Angular front end. So how we can do that? It's very easy. Basically what we need to do here inside this register request. So whenever you do this, we created the hashed password. We can basically create a record variable, and we will basically find out user.find1. It contains this method find1, and we will basically pass the email here. So whatever email is there, we will basically find out the user, whether this user is already present, whether this email is already present inside the database. If this is matched here, if the record is available, in that case we will return simply an error, response.status 400, and we will send out this error, guys, which inside this message variable, that email is already registered. Now, guys, you will be seeing a specific error, and in the else block we will simply say we will execute this code. That's all. So you can see that we have put a if condition here. We are checking it. We are finding the user, whether this user already exists. If it exists, then we are simply passing this message to the user. So if I try to register it with the same email address, guys, now I just need to refresh my application. Just restart this, and abc@gmail.com is already present. So you will see email is already registered. So this message you can display it on the any front end, JavaScript, Angular, Vue.js, React.js. We will be displaying it in the Angular front end. So this is basically, I think, is complete register request, and we just need to basically set the token. After we create this response, guys, after we save this, we just need to create the JWT token, which is very easy. We can say that first of all, we can extract the ID from it. From this result, we can say await result. We can convert this into JSON. So after extracting the ID, guys, you can simply create the token. We can use the sign method of JWT. As you can see, we are importing this library JSON web token, and we can sign this token, guys. We can pass the ID property here. So whatever ID is there, and here we need to provide the secret key, guys. So this secret key you need to store it in the production in this environment variable, or a very secret location in the production. But I am just showing you like this. So this will be the secret key. So after this, guys, we need to set the cookie. So we'll say response.cookie, and here you can name this as anything, but I will name it as JWT. You will store the token, and then it take the third option, which HTTP only is true, and the maximum expiry age of the token. So we will be setting it for 1 day. So after 1 day, this will be automatically gets expired and deleted. So this value in it is in seconds. So 24 divided by 60 divided by 60. I think this is in millisecond. So this is, so that's all, guys, that you need to do. So we can simply send out this message. Send. This message is not required, but we just need to send it the success message. That's all. This is basically the backend register route, guys. Now we can go to the front end and basically complete this, and I need to do step by step. Once I complete one request in backend, I will be showing you inside Angular front end. So just go to your app folder, guys. You will see that this is basically the application. If you open localhost 4200, this is your Angular application. You will see that this is brand new Angular application. Now, first of all, inside this application, guys, what we need to do, we need to create 4 components. Namely, this will be home, navigation, login, and register. So I think you will be knowing how to create components inside Angular. If you don't, you can execute this command, which is ng generate, and then we say component followed by where we need to create this. So we'll say component slash home. So now this will create the home component, guys. You will see it will create a brand new components folder, and we will have basically the home component. And similarly, we need to create the navigation component, guys. Also, this will create the navigation component, and also we will have the register component, and also we will have the login component. So simply create these 4 components. So it will get created. You will see. So we have home, we have login, we have navigation, we have register. So now the second part is, guys, we need to open this file which you see app-routing.module.ts file. So now we need to implement the routing as well. So whatever routes that you have configured inside this array, we need to define all the routes. So we have a path property here. So when we go to the home page, whenever user goes to the home page, the home component will be get loaded. You will see automatically this will be there. Components, home component. So Visual Studio makes it very much easier to do this process. And then we will have the second path, guys, which will be if the user goes to the /login, this component will get loaded, which is the login component. Login component, you can see. And similarly, we will have the path for the register as well. So whenever user goes to the register component, this component will get rendered, which is register component. So you will see that. So all these 3 components are loaded here. So that's all that you need to do inside this file, guys. So navigation will be constant in all the 3 components. So that's why we don't have the path for that. So now you need to open the app.module.ts file, guys. So for this, you can see all the components are automatically included by Visual Studio. So once you created those commands, so we do need 2 components, guys, 2 modules, which is the forms module and the HTTP client module. So here you can import the forms module from Angular Forms. We also need the reactive forms module as well. So simply require that. And then we also need the HTTP client module as well, guys. So HTTP client module. So this will be coming from @Angular/common/HTTP. So after this, you need to simply add them inside your includes array, forms module and HTTP client module and reactive forms module. So you can see we have added these three properties: forms, HTTP client, and reactive forms. So I think that's all that you need to do right here inside this file. So simply close this file. And one more important thing that you need to do, guys, you need to go to tsconfig.json file, and right here inside your compiler options, you need to add a property here which is very much important, which is, let me show you. I think this property is strict property initialization. So this you need to make it false. So just make this property. So this is a very important property, guys. If you don't add this, your project will not work. So simply add this tsconfig.json, simply close it. Now you need to simply go to your app.component.html file, simply delete all that stuff. And now we will simply include the app.navigation component at the top. So inside like this, and then we will have the main tag, and inside this we can say router outlet. So we will be displaying the routing pages, whatever we configured. You need to give it a class form sign in. And also, guys, you need to go to index.html, and for this we need the bootstrap. We are using some bootstrap also, so you can need to include the bootstrap CDN. So simply you need to bootstrap CDN and include the bootstrap CDN here. So simply you can grab this CSS only we need. So just after this, paste it. And now I have given that code app.component.css, guys. This is custom styles that we are added. So you can go to my blog post, and I have added the CSS code which is required for this application. So I think it is given right here. Yeah, this is a code here. So very less CSS code is there. Simply add this. So now if you open your application Angular app, just refresh this. And let me just start this ngserve. So it is just starting this application, so just wait. You will see it is started. You will see this is a navigation component, guys. It is staying, and this is a home component. Now if I go to the login component here, /login, this is a login component. You will see login works. If I go to /register, this is basically the register component. You can see navigation will stay constant right here at the top here, because we included this inside our app.component.html file at the top. But these three components will change depending upon which endpoint that you write in the address bar. And now we will need to first of all just create the navigation component, guys. This is really important. Navigation. This will have some bootstrap classes, guys. Navigation bar expand MD, navigation bar dark, background will also be dark. So these are some of the classes of bootstrap. So we also need to say margin bottom 4. Inside this we will have the container fluid class of bootstrap. We will have a router link property. So now to link pages, we have the router link attribute that you need to write. You will give it a class navbar brand page. So this will be the home page. So if you go to click this, it will redirect you to the home page. So if you just refresh this application, so you will see that now we have this home page. You will see that navbar expand, medium, navbar dark, bg dark, mb4, and then inside this, guys, what I will see, guys, I will simply paste this code. This is just the HTML code. I am not good in HTML and CSS, that's why. So you will see that basically we have two buttons out there, the login and the register button. If you refresh this, you will see we have login, register. You can see that inside, I think I copy pasted this inside index.html. We copy pasted the CDN, so I think why it's not. Let me just see guys why the styles are not seeing right here. Hi guys, I figured out the error guys, because if you see inspect element, bootstrap is not loading here. If you see inside console, no error is there, but we need to set an attribute called as cross origin anonymous. So whenever you include this inside your Angular apps, just need to include this cross origin and anonymous. So simply include this attribute, and if you refresh this, still it will not work. So I will say that, so I have whatever I pasted the CDN, this CDN seems to work. So you go to my description of the blog post, simply copy this CDN, simply replace this. So I think that bootstrap CDN is not working, so simply include this. So if you now refresh, you will see it will work here. So we have the home page. So if you go to login, it will go to /login. If you go to /register, it will work here. Now we need to show the login forms guys. If I click login and register, this is really important. And now first of all we will tackle the register form. So just go to the register component.html. So right here guys, we will have a simple form element, and we will basically have form group. This will set it to form. We will also be having a submit event handler. So when we submit the form, this function will execute. So here we will have a h1. So again, these are basically classes guys. So I will simply copy this code. You can get this code from my description. So namely we have three fields: name, email and password. So we need to give it these form control name. So this is really important, form control name to each and every input field. So this is placeholder, placeholder, placeholder. These are all bootstrap classes, and we have a submit button. So now we need to write the submit function guys. So once we click this button, so we need to go to register component.ts file, and right here we need to define this. So for this guys, we need that form group dependency. So right here we need to import that. So we need to say import. So this will be coming from Angular forms, this form group and form builder. So after you do this, we have to have a constructor. Inside this we will pass these three properties. First is form builder, which is of the type here form builder. Then we will have the private HTTP client. So this will also get imported. You can see that. So just do it like this. And third will be the router guys. This will also get imported from Angular router. You will see that. So these things you need to pass inside the constructor guys. And now we need to write the ng on init guys. This is basically the life cycle method of Angular. So inside this we will simply say this dot form builder dot group. We will initialize and reset the fields here like this: name, email and password. So for this we just need to implement, just write this implements on init, just add this. So we need to import on init from Angular core here like this. So after you do this guys, we just need to write that function. Once we submit the form, this function will execute, and inside this we will get the values whatever user write using this function, which is get raw value. So if you just console log it inside the browser, if I refresh this application, you will see basically the form here. And if I inspect element and if I go to console, So if I write any values here, you will see an object will be created, and hopefully you can see that this is email. Let me just elongate it. You can see we have an object. It contains three properties: email, name, and password. So we can now easily capture these properties, guys, and pass it into the post request. So first of all, we need to validate these data. So how to validate this? We will have a simple if condition that if user.name is empty or user.email is empty or user.password is empty. In either of these cases, guys, we just need to show a alert message to the user that please enter all the details. So for this, we need to import the sweet alert library right here at the top. We will say sweet alert from. So just import this module, guys, and right here we will use the fire method, and inside this we will simply say, I think this is basically a method here, and we need to say title will be error. And here we will define the error message, please enter all the fields, and this will be the error message. So you will see, guys, if I basically don't write anything here, and if I try to submit, please enter all the fields, you will see that this message, if I enter the name, but if I don't enter this again, you can see that I need to enter all the things. Now this message will not show. We also need to do, guys, if this is the email field here, so if I enter an invalid email address, if I don't include this @ symbol, we also need to show an alert message. So for this we need to create a separate method, guys, which is you just need to make this method right here at the top, which is this validate email. So it will have check this against this regular expression, and it will basically return either true or false. So now we can use this method. Inside we can simply have a else if condition. So we can say validate email, and we can simply pass the email address. You can say user.email. So basically if it returns false, we can put a not sign here. In that case we can say please enter a valid email. And in the else block, if all the details are correct, guys, in that case, let me just show you the alert message. Now let's suppose if I enter a wrong email address, please enter a valid email. You will see that if I correct that email address, you can see that nothing happens. So now if all the details are correct, guys, in that case we just need to make a HTTP request, this.http, and here we will make a post request, and here you will see HTTP localhost. So wherever your backend is running, so our backend is running on localhost 5000 /API/register, and we will simply pass the values which are this.form.get raw value. So we already stored this inside the user, so we can simply pass the user variable, which is an object. And we also need to pass this third option, guys, which is very much important, which is with credentials. Sorry. So this will automatically send the JSON web token in the cookies. So we just need to set it to true. With credentials is very important option. And now this will return, we need to subscribe to this method. So subscribe. This will return either the response. So here we will simply this.router, we will redirect the user to the home route. So here you will say slash, and if any sort of error take place, in that case we will display the error message like this: error message. That's all. So you can see if any sort of error take place, we are displaying the error message, error message. If you check my backend API, if you see, if you check basically the backend API, guys, so here inside routes, inside our register request here, if any sort of error take place, we are sending it this object here, which basically contains this property message. So you will see that this message property we are sending. So that's why basically we are showing this property right here, error.message. So if I try to refresh this application, guys, and if I try to register, and let's suppose already one record is present here, abc@gmail.com is already present in the database. If I try to enter that email address, abc@gmail.com, 1 2 3 4 5 6, you will see email is already registered. So you will see this error message will be there. I need to basically give it a ABCD. Click on submit. You will see it will redirect you to the home page. And if you check your basically the cookies option, go to application cookies. You will have your JSON web token created. This is a JSON web token. It is automatically gets created. And once you close this window, guys, again open this. This will be valid for full 1 day. Again, this will automatically detect and it will redirect you to the home page. This is registration process complete, guys. Now we need to simply tackle the login process. So this is the registration process complete, and now we simply need to put the login process. And one other thing, guys, we also need to show the logout button here instead of login and register button, because we are successfully logged in. So for showing that, we need to go to the home route, because we are if you see, we are basically navigating or redirecting the user to the home route. Now we need to open the home route here, guys. Just go to home.component.ts file, and here we need to write some code. So inside here we will basically display the information of the user. So message, we will declare a variable. We will have a constructor, and here we will be basically having HTTP client. It will automatically gets imported, and here we will basically ng on init, guys. We will inside this lifecycle method, we will basically make a get request. So just implement this on init. Just import this, and basically, guys, this we need to make a get request here. This .http called get, and here you will be having the address http localhost 5000/API/user. So here we will putting the details, guys, with credentials true. So once again, this will pass the JSON web token in the cookies automatically with the single option, and then it will again, we need to subscribe to this method. So whatever it returned to you, response, we need to cast to any. So here we will say this dot message is equal to, we will use by backtick symbol hi, and then we will simply say response dot name. So you will see that so we need to simply here. So now, guys, basically we were there. You will see we are printing out the name here of the user which is currently logged in. So we will simply write like this inside backtick symbol. This is response.name. So this will basically print out hi followed by the name of the currently logged in user. And now let's suppose if any sort of error take place, we put a comma here, and we put any sort of error take place. So what we can say is that here, this dot message and here we can simply say the error. That's all. So now guys, we just need to make this method, which is /API/user inside our backend, to detect whether this client is authenticated or not, that we are having this request. So now we need to go to routes.js. So we have put this route, we have made this post request of register. Similarly, we need to make this request of user/user. So here we need to return the details of the currently logged in user inside this request. So first of all, we need to surround all the code inside try catch block. So here first of all, we will get the cookie here of the browser, of the user browser. We will get the cookie using request.cookies, and here we will get the value JWT. We will get the token, and here we will simply say claims, and here we will verify JWT verify, and we will verify the cookie here value against the secret key. That's all. So now we will have a if condition. If the token is correct, we have put a not sign, guys. So this simply means that if the token is not correct, in that case we need to return a message to the user with a status of 401, which is non-authorized. So in that case, we will send a message to the user that unauthenticated. That's it. So you are not authenticated to access this page. So here we will simply, if the user is authenticated, if the token is authenticated, then we will get the user detail by user find one, and here we will pass the ID of the user, which is claims.id, like this. So we will get the information about the user. So just make this as async function, guys, because we are using a wait keyword here. So this will get the information about the user. So we will extract by destructuring it the data about the user. We will say we'll convert this into JSON by using the user.json, like this, and then we will simply send out the data. That's all. And if any sort of error take place, guys, in that case also we will simply say message unauthenticated. That's all. So basically this is the request, guys. So let me summarize this. Firstly, we are checking the cookie JWT token, whether it is present inside the user browser or not. Then we are verifying it using JWT verify method. If it is not a correct token, then we are returning a message that you are not an authenticated user. And then we are simply finding the details of the user and sending the details about the user. That's all. Response.send. So that's all, guys, that we are doing this. And after this, we need to go to our component here, which is home.component.ts file. And right here, we just need to display the details here. So we were displaying the details. So let me just see. If any sort of error take place here, we can display a message here that is you are not logged in. Customize message. And now if I basically refresh the browser, guys, so what you will see right here, if I see, if you go to the home page, it will simply say home works, because we need to replace this message. We haven't replaced this message. So we need to replace this message inside home.component.html. So right here, instead of this, we will simply replace the message inside double curly brackets. That's all. So just replace this, guys, and now you will see you are not logged in, because if you inspect element, the token is not present. The token is present, but it's not valid. And if you now basically register now, if I register with a new name, I say email address, click on submit, you will see basically JWT, and you will see basically the token is created, and still it is saying that you are not logged in. I think it's somewhat a mistake is there. Let me see what is the mistake here. Home.component.ts file. I think we need to refresh the browser, guys, for the application to work. So just refresh this application. So I think we need to, again, if I refresh this, if I provide a name, so this, email is already taken. So let me change this email address. So again, this message is popping in that you are not logged in. It returns an object here which contains these three details. Let me see, guys, what is the problem here. Sorry guys, I figured out the error. It was a very silly mistake. You will see the port number that I replaced 8000. I need to replace it 5000 because my application backend server is running on port number 5000. So just replace it. And now if you try to register a new user, guys, and you will see the message will change here. Hi followed by the name. Let me again register here with a new name, this name. And this is my email address. Provide the password. You will see in the application this again a new token will be generated, and this is your name, hi followed by the name. And now we also need to show the logout button, guys, instead of login and register button. If you close this window, again if you go to localhost 4200, it will once again redirect you to the, you will see that. Now we need to basically show the logout button. So how we can do that? It's very easy. So right inside your home component.ts file, we just need to create emitters. If you don't know about emitters, guys, inside Angular, basically it's a way by which multiple components communicate with each other. So now we need to tell the navigation component that the user is logged in. You need to show the logout button. For that, we need to basically create a new folder, which is let me create that folder inside the front end, inside the app folder. So in this folder, I will create a new folder called as emitters. So this file will be a simply emitter.ts TypeScript file. So this will be a slightly just 2 lines of code. We will simply import event emitter. And this will be coming from the core library of Angular. And we just need to export this class, guys, which is emitter. And we will have a static property of auth emitter, new event emitter. So we will have a boolean parameter here, boolean. So you can even just transfer string value as well here. You can also transfer number value, but we will be transferring the boolean value from one component to another component. So this class we can use inside our home component. So what we can say inside home component.ts file. So right here what we can say, after this, whenever response is there, we can simply say here inside, I think yes, we can basically say emitters. So you can see the class will be imported from the source app emitters emitter automatically, and it basically contains this property, static property that we defined here, auth emitter, and it contains a method emit, and we will be emitting true in this case, a boolean value, because the user is authenticated. If the error is there, in that case we will be emitting false. False, that's all. This is a very simple logic, guys. So if the user is authenticated, then we are transferring this, emitting this value, which is true, and if it is not logged in, we are emitting false. Now we need to catch this value. We need to subscribe to this event emitter. So now we can go to the navigation component here, navigation folder, go to navigation component.ts file, and right here we can subscribe to this event. So it's very simply, we will create a variable here which is called as authenticated. By default the value will be false. We will have a constructor it will be private HTTP of the type HTTP client. Automatically it will get created, and then we will again have this ng on in it. This will be of type void, so we will implement this on in it. So just import this. So inside this function, guys, we will basically subscribe to this emitters dot auth emitter dot subscribe, and whatever is the value inside, it returns the value of auth, which is of type boolean. So we will make this value authenticated. This dot authenticated is equal to auth. That's all. So whether it's true or false, depending upon that. Now we need to use this value, guys, inside our navigation component.html file. We just need to add this if condition here, ng if, right here. So star ng if, we will add this condition based upon. So if the user is not authenticated, we will put not symbol here, authenticated. Then we will show the login and register button. If they are authenticated, in that case, let me copy this, paste it one more time. If they are authenticated, then we will only show one button here, which will be logout button. So simply replace here logout, and we will go to /logout for the logout button. That's all. So this is all that you need to do, guys. We have added this ng if condition, guys, depending upon the authenticated value. Not symbol we have added, false, we are showing login register. If they are logged in, we are showing logout button. So if you now refresh here, guys, you will see automatically this are showing the logout button here. The user is currently logged in. And now if I press the logout button, nothing happens because we need to implement this functionality. So this is really simple for the logout button. This is a simple command here. We are basically executing this function. Logout. Let me see here. /login, and we also need to add a on click to this. So just click on click. So when we click this button, guys, basically we will execute this logout function. So now we just need to define this logout function, guys, inside navigation component.ts file. So we will basically have this function. So logout, and inside this function, guys, we will basically make a HTTP post request to the endpoint that we will create right now, HTTP localhost 5000 /API/logout, and we don't need to pass any sort of data to it, so empty parentheses, sorry, curly brackets, and here we will pass the authentication JSON web token with credentials to true. And we just need to subscribe to this method, and inside this, guys, we will simply say this.authenticated dot is equal to false. That's all. We just need to make like this. So after we make this post request, so we just need to make this post request inside our backend. Go to routes.js. So this logout will be very simple. Let me just write this. This one, this. Yeah, let me make a new request here, router.post. So someone makes a logout request. We basically simply delete the cookie here. So for deleting the cookie, guys, we will once again set this JWT, and we will simply make the expiry date, we will set it to nothing, and max age we will simply say to 0. That's all. So this is, it will delete the cookie. After that, we can simply say message success. Simply it will log out the user, and if I basically now refresh the browser, if I click the logout button, it will redirect the user to the home page. Just refresh this, click on logout, you will see the user will redirect you to the home page. I think I think we have made a mistake in navigation component.ts file. So what we need to do is that we have created this dot authenticated. When we click localhost 5000 API logout with credentials to true, if you check your application, you can see it is gone here. It is no longer present. The cookie is not present. If I once again register here, if I change the email, you will see now it is JWT is created. If I click logout, it will be deleted here from the cookie, but still this message is appearing right here. I need to change this to you are not logged in. So let me see guys why it is not appearing. Guys, I figured out the problem here because there is no router link available such as logout, because if you check inside your router file, basically app/routing module.ts, there is no route such as logout. So we need to redirect the user back to the login page once we log out. So that's why here inside your navigation component.ts, we just need to replace here /login. So once we log out, we need to redirect the user back to the login route. So just replace here /login. So if you basically now refresh, you will see you are not logged in, and let me try to register a new user. So you will see JWT token is created. If I click logout, you will see it will once again redirect me to the login page. And now you will see you are not logged in. So if you click home, you will see you are not logged in. You will see that the status changes, and if I again refresh, you will see the state changes. Now we simply need to implement the login form, guys. So now we need to allow the user to log in. So we just need to go to your login folder, login.html. So here we just need to replace a simple form, guys, and similarly what we did inside registration, we need to do the same thing for the login as well. So we have a simple form, guys. We are executing the submit method, and we have two fields here, email and password. We have a button. So if I refresh it, it will say this function is not defined. So we need to define this function. So we just need to go to login component.ts. So here we will first of all define this function. So once again we will have these properties that we written for the registration form as well. So we just need to import this, all that stuff. So right here at the top, we just need to import that, import HTTP client. And also we just need to import the router as well. So Angular router, sorry. So you will see we also need the Sweet Alert library, guys, for showing the pop-up messages. So after this, guys, we just need to implement on init. So here we can simply say on init. So for this, it will need to implement this method ng on init. So inside this method, guys, we once again need to do the same thing. We will reset the values. So we will initialize a new reference of form builder. You can see email password. So we just need to define that submit button, guys. So submit methods, which will get automatically called. If you see now we have a sign in form, guys. So we allow the user to simply enter the email and password. So before we implement this, we simply need to write the route, guys. Go to routes.js, and inside this we will simply write the record for the login process. So this is very simple. this backend API request is very simple. For this, we simply need to first of all get the user. We will simply use await here because it's the async function. We will first of all find out about the user by using again this method find one. We will pass the email address which the user has passed using request.body.email. So if the user is already present, if the user is not present, in that case we will simply say that response.status, we will say 404. We will send out a response back to the front end that this message that user not found. That's all. So this is very important. We are checking if the email is present or not. Then we will compare it for the password. If the password doesn't match, then we will simply say await. We will use the bcrypt library, guys. We will use the compare method. We will pass the password that the user has supplied. We will compare it with the hash which the user has stored, user.password. If they don't match, in that case we will return a message again that status, this time the status will be 400. This will be unauthenticated, so your credentials are wrong. So here we will say password is incorrect. So now guys, if all these conditions are true, in that case we are authenticated user. We will simply sign the JWT JSON web token with the ID, user ID, like this, and here we will supply the secret key. Secret key should be constant, guys. In every secret JWT token that you sign, it should be constant, and then we will be setting it inside the cookie JWT, and we will set the token, and we will provide this one to be true, and maximum age, this will be 24 multiplied by 60 multiplied by again 60, and this is in millisecond. This is for 1 day. You can change it for any day of your choice, 3 days, 5 days, and then we can simply send out a success message to the user. That's all. This is simply your login route. So now we will simply go to our login component.ts file, guys, and here we will simply try to pass the information through the form. So here what we need to do, guys, we need to do the same thing once again which we did in the register form. So we need to define this validate email function. So if you don't enter email address or password, we will show the alert message. So we are doing the same thing. So if all the things are correct, in that case we will simply now make a simple post request, HTTP post and HTTP localhost 5000 /API/ sorry, this is, yeah, this is the one. So here name is not necessary, sorry. Yeah, so here we will make /API/login, and here we will pass the information which is present inside user, and the option will be with credentials to be true. It will pass automatically the JSON web token, and then we need to subscribe to this. So whatever result is returned to you, we will simply redirect the user this.router navigate. We will navigate it to the home page. You will see that, and then if any sort of error take place, in that case we will simply fire a message. We will say error message and error. That's all. So login functionality is also complete, guys. So now if I try to refresh the browser and if I inspect element, go to the application, you will see nothing is present here. No JWT token is there. If I try to basically enter an email address which is present inside a database, let's suppose abc@gmail.com, I write. But I don't write the correct password. In that case, you will see error message will be popping in. Password is incorrect. If I write invalid email address, user not found, you will see. And now if I write a correct email address and if I enter the correct password, in that case, you will see you are not logged in. I think first of all we need to register here. Let me register it with the correct. One, two, three, four, five, six. You will see that high security. And now if I log in it with the same name @gmail.com. So it is telling me that you are not logged in. It is saying 401 unauthorized. Let me see, guys, here. Just wait, guys, I'm looking at this. Guys, I figured out the problem here. There was just a typing mistake inside my backend request here. The front-end code was correct. So you just need to go to the description of the video and basically just type the exact code here. Router post login. And there was just a mistake, typing mistake, typo mistake. So I just copy pasted the full source code from the blog post. And now if I refresh here, you will see the application is running smoothly. So if I try to basically log in with the correct email address, abc@gmail.com, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, click on sign in, you will see this page is saying hi ABC. And if I close this window, if I directly go to localhost 4200, it will detect here hi ABC. We have a logout button. If I click logout, you will see now we are logout. If I go to this, you are not logged in. If I want to register a new user, I can register it. Put a name, put a email address, put the password. So this is your application, guys, the Node JWT authentication system with Angular 14.15 as the front end. This is a full stack application. So hopefully, guys, you should like this video. If you like it, then please hit that like button, subscribe the channel. You can go to the description of the video to get all the source code. I have written a complete step-by-step blog post. If you do want to purchase all the source code with directory structure, all that stuff, whatever version that I used, you can purchase the full source code if you face any sort of problem. And I will be seeing you in the next video.